If you don't feel good, go to the doctor. If you're tired and you don't know why, go to the doctor. If you're gaining weight and you don't know why, go to the doctor. Don't go to Weight Watchers. Don't go to Google. Don't go to the body positive community. Don't go to the weight loss community. Go to the doctor.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Before we get into it, if you see all these lovely people here on this side of the screen, this is from my Twitch live stream. I stream pretty much every single weekday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if you're ever bored around that time, you can click the link in the description. Come join us. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. Okay, today we are going to be talking about a video that was recently released by Anna, or Glitter and Lasers. If you're not familiar with her, I have tons of videos on her, so I'll link those in the description if you have no idea who this is. But basically, Anna is someone that has been pretty open about her weight struggles, and she shared a lot of her, her differences and being part of the body positive community and feeling like there was a time where the body positive community kind of turned their backs on her, and then trying to get more into fitness. And she shared a lot of, her realities, and she's shared her struggles with lymphedema and dealing with that. And it's been a very interesting kind of journey and watching along with that. But today we are going to be talking about a video that she released on her channel, which is very brave. It's very honest, and I feel like it is a point of view that is not brought up very much, and I think it's really, really interesting to see it from someone that is currently going through it. And so before we get into it, it is a pretty heavy video. It's pretty intense. It's, not for the, faint of heart. It's not like graphic or anything, but it's just a very emotional video. And so just kind of letting you know beforehand. But the title of the video is "It's My Own Damn Fault." So this is the video right here. And let's just, without further ado, let's see what she has to say.
Today I'm going to talk about something that I haven't really talked about for a while. And the reason I haven't talked about it in a while is I've been figuring some stuff out. Today we're going to talk about my health. So as you guys know, I have been trying to find a doctor, and it's been a process. It's been a while to find someone that I really trust. And I have that person now, and I am extremely grateful for them. Going to the doctor was terrifying. In fact, I pretty much had a panic attack on my first appointment with the doctor I have now.
I can understand this. Like, it's really scary to, for some people, even if you go to the doctor often, you have this anxiety about going there, right? And so imagine being someone that hasn't gone in a long time, and then being, hearing all of this rhetoric of like, if you're overweight, you're definitely unhealthy, and they're just going to tell you that you're unhealthy. And then on the other side of the spectrum, with this health at every side spectrum, like, they're always going to be mean to you. They're never going to treat you. They're going to fat shame you. They're going to be fat phobic. They're not going to actually get down to the issues. So it's just like, well, then screw it. I'm not going to go. Right. And she kind of talks about that's kind of where she was. And I right there, that is so interesting to me, because I can imagine there are a lot of other people that feel the exact same way. Right.
He was very kind and very sweet to me, so everything netted out okay. But I did find out some things that I did not know that were pretty scary. Before I get into what those were, and I'm not going to tell you super big details on it because honestly, it's none of your business. But let me explain why I'm making this video, because there's a very important reason why I'm making this video. I actually debated about making it for a really long time. You can tell I'm really uncomfortable talking about this right now. This is not something I don't necessarily want to share this with the internet, but
so this is, I understand this, because just imagine if you are a content creator that has a big following, and you talk about something like this and say like, oh, I haven't been going to the doctors, there are going to be people that are going to judge you and that are going to be upset with you regardless of your size. But then imagine if you are someone that is, overweight, and you say that, you're going to deal with, and I know that that's probably what's going on through her head, of people on both sides of the argument being like, people being like, why would you go to the doctor? They're just going to fat shame you. They're going to tell you that your weight, blah, blah, blah. And then the other side, like, see, this is why you shouldn't be fat. This is why you need to lose weight, yada, 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 right? And so, again, this is why I just hate this, that these are the conversations that we're having, because is it really helping people? I don't know.
But I feel like it's my responsibility to share this with the internet. Whether I like it or not, people look up to me and people listen to me. And I think that this video could help save somebody's life. And that is why I'm making it. And I'll leave it at that. So, as a creator and as just a plus size person in general, I hear two things about my body all the time. On one end, I hear from the body positive community or just general the plus size community that I should love my body, accept it as it is, and learn to embrace and love everything about it. Okay? On the other side, I hear from people who are very anti-fat people in general, telling me that I should starve myself, that I should not eat, that I should exercise more. And frankly, I gave both of these audiences way too much of my attention. And what ended up happening is, as I started to gain weight over the last couple of years, unbeknownst to me how or why, I started to take from this side that, kind of critiques fat people. I started to take that if I was tired or exhausted or upset at the end of the day, that's because I was overweight. And
so I know that being someone in her position, she's dealt with a lot of people, and you could maybe even put me in that camp. And so, hopefully I'm not, but you probably could put me in that camp where it's like, give advice or tell people like, you just need to lose weight. You just need to lose weight. Right. That's why I don't like that kind of advice, because it treats weight loss as a panacea and like this thing that's going to solve every issue that you might have as a fat person. Right. And there are, of course, benefits to losing weight it can help so much stuff, right? Things that I don't think are even debatable, right? When it comes to mobility issues or, issues with like your joints and stuff like that. Like, you cannot tell me that losing 150 pounds might help those issues, right? If you can't bend over and tie your shoe, maybe losing weight would help that. Or your knee hurts. Like, again, maybe not, but most of the time that it will help those things. But it's not going to solve every issue, but people like to treat it as this is the way to lose, to deal with everything. I'm telling you, there are plenty of examples of people doing very, very, very unhealthy things to lose weight, and they end up in a worse spot after they lost the weight. Either it's because they have continued to try and lose weight and they're underweight, or they lost the weight really unhealthy ways to do it, and then they gain the weight back, and now they're heavier than they were before and more unhealthy than they were before. So the answer is not just eat less, LOL, you're fat. Like, that's just not the answer, right? And so I really dislike that kind of advice.
And so I began to work very, very hard on getting into shape and getting and pushing myself really beyond the limits that I should have. And that's a very honest response. And I always just felt extremely tired.
And now this is where I get into so many people, when they want to start losing weight, they feel like they have to freaking go so hard. And that's why I don't like that advice, because especially if you are really, really overweight, you can start slow and see results. You don't need to do everything right at the start. And like, it's not necessary. You don't have to go super hard at the start. You don't. I get that it's like you want to, because it's like, oh, I can freaking like lose weight super fast. But I'm telling you, it's not necessary. And so many people burn themselves out right at the start, and then they're done trying to lose weight after a few weeks, after a few months maybe, right? Because that stuff is not sustainable. Again, I know it sounds like a broken record, but this is like, it's important.
So, but I kept pushing, and I would push myself so hard that oftentimes after a really big thing that I pushed through, I would need 2 days, sometimes a week to recover, which is not normal. It's not normal, but I thought it was normal because I kept hearing from this audience that it was because I was lazy. And I would say to people in my life that I'm so out of shape, I need to get better in shape, this shouldn't affect me as much. And I would say that all the time, and I would literally like beat myself up for not being in shape enough. Okay. Even though I was trying and I was really doing all the right things to get there, I wasn't progressing, and I wasn't showing any difference in my levels of stamina and some other things. Okay. On this side, it was like, love your body as you are. You know, you are this way because you are, right? And so I was caught in this middle where I both attacked myself mentally every day for not being able to do what a thin person, what I thought was just my weight, couldn't do. And then also embrace and love my body, thought this is just the way it is. Okay?
And so this is where it's a really interesting kind of conundrum to be in this sort of position where you're not fully one or you're not fully the other, right? And so like there's a lot of people on the body positive side or more extreme health at every size side where it's like it's almost like going to the doctor is seen as like a negative, and it's like they're always going to say this thing. They're always going to treat you bad. They're always going to not listen. They're always going to make you feel bad. And so I can guarantee that there are people that just do not go to the doctors because they're like, well, this is how they're going to treat me. And it's like, nah, you don't know 100% if that's how someone is going to treat you until you go yourself, which she gets into. I guarantee there are people that literally just skip going to the doctors because of that, which is scary, regardless of your size. But we're living in the real world, and when you are morbidly obese or have a ton of weight or suffer from morbid obesity, whatever you want to say, a lot of bad stuff can happen, you know? And so going to the doctor is a very good thing that should happen. Should doctors be nicer? Yes. Are all doctors evil people that will say, LOL, lose weight, fatty? No. Are there some like that? I'm sure, right?
This is kind of what led me not to go to a doctor. Also from the fat community, I heard that doctors are scary. Doctors will just tell you about weight loss. Doctors are just going to prescribe you medication and tell you that that's the solution to your problems. So I built a deep fear of being told to lose weight, and also a deep fear of taking any medication or solution to lose weight. Okay? So both of these sides yelled at me, and I'm going to say right now, here and now, bad choices. Maybe not bad choices, but choices that weren't my choices. I was making choices based on this input, which is my own fault, by the way. It's my own damn fault. This video should just be titled, It's My Own Damn Fault, because it is. Eventually, I got to the point where I started to realize...
I do think that it's important and it's good that, you know, she takes ownership for it, regardless of all of the information out there. But I do think that that's a reason why, because a lot of people are like, well, it's the own person's fault. But at some point, we do have to think about these different like ideologies or different sides of the argument that do share some of the blame, maybe not entirely, but share some of the blame for making people scared, right? If we're talking about more like, let's like take this away from weight, but we're talking about like conspiracy theories, like when people literally make people like afraid to do certain things that are good for them, right? Like this is a conspiracy theory about how drinking water is bad for you. And that person constantly goes online and gets people to be afraid of drinking water. And eventually someone decides not to drink water ever and they die. Right? At what point is it like, oh, that person is an idiot and they should have been drinking water? Well, it's like, yeah, true. But at what point should this person that's saying that you shouldn't be drinking water be blamed? I don't know. I don't have the answer. But I do think it's important not to just put it all on the person. Instead, like, what are the things that are influencing this person and how can we either change that or make that not as, you know, not happening as often? I hope that made sense.
Realize how much these two voices yelled at me. Actually, I would say I learned that this side was yelling at me. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be as big as I am right now. And I want to investigate how I can change it. And this had nothing to do with being attractive, by the way. I literally do not care if you find me, excuse my French, fuckable. I do not care. I do not care if you want to sleep with me. I don't care if you find me beautiful. I just don't. It's not important to me. But what is important to me is mobility and being active. And I didn't want to feel tired all the time, exhausted all the time from basic everyday activities. So I decided to just kind of tune out this crowd, maybe listened a little bit too much to the people over here, And I finally decided I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to get one of the new hormonal weight loss drugs that are out there. And this is really what led me to go to the doctor. And part of this had to do with the campaign I did with a brand earlier that talked about, you should.
Again, it's interesting that it almost feels like she has to explain why she went to the doctor. Like, if you want to go to the doctor because you have been struggling with your weight and get a way to help you hopefully with weight loss, it's just wild to me that it's even like has to be explained, and like someone would be nervous about sharing that, right? But again, that is the world we live in now.
Be seeing a doctor if you're overweight as your first step to any solution. And you know what, a lot of people hated on that campaign, but in a lot of ways that campaign saved my life, because it got me thinking about, I don't really know why I'm overweight and I should be talking to someone. And I have lipedema, but it's like, is that really the cause? And like, who knows what's going on with my body? So I made an appointment with the doctor. Again, I totally freaked out, had a panic attack there. We took some labs, and my doctor literally said to me, he's like, I can't give you a diet and I can't give you anything until I see what these labs come back as, because that would be like irresponsible of me.
I think that's good. That's good to hear, because again, giving just like advice willy-nilly, again, is dangerous, right?
It sounds pretty sound to me. So he did suggest that I start eating 5 times a day, which ironically, this group told me to eat less. My doctor told me to eat more. And that
I don't know why the doctor said this. I'm kind of curious if he had, or she, if they had maybe a suspicion where they were maybe a little nervous of something like diabetes or pre-diabetes, because a lot of times people that don't know that they have diabetes or pre-diabetes will try and do like intermittent fasting or a diet where they're only eating a couple times in a day or maybe once in a day. And that is really not good if you struggle with like blood sugar regulation and stuff like that. So I wonder if maybe that's why he was like, hey, maybe you should be eating a little bit, more meals throughout the day. I don't know. Obviously I am a doctor, but just in YouTube, but not a medical.
That we would probably have another appointment once the labs came back. So fast forward about a week and a half, the labs come back. And there are some interesting results. I'm not going to share everything that was in them, but I will share the high-level details. First and foremost, I am not diabetic. I am also do not have cholesterol issues, and I don't really have anything like in that vein of the woods that my weight is affecting me with. It is affecting me in some of my mobility and my flexibility, and probably has a little issue with my joints, but all of the things that people like to shout that fat people are going to have, I'm not even near to having them. In fact, my doctor said my cholesterol looks fantastic. Okay? But what did come back is that I am severely anemic. I think the doctor said like he was really confused at how I was even functioning with the level of anemia that I have. And that I also have some autoimmune disorders, and they are pretty dominant, and they are going to need special programs to deal with. Additionally, I have some other issues that I really don't know what they are now, but I'm seeing another specialist for.
So a lot of this stuff, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's because of, that's definitely not my job. I'm just going to listen to what she's saying. Again, I'm not going to, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to,
they can see basically the effects of these issues, but they don't know what which is the root cause of the issue. I know that's vague, but I don't want to tell you something and be wrong. They know that stuff is happening in my body that should not be happening, but they don't know why it's happening. So I've been referred to 2 specialists to deal with these issues. It is going to be a lot to deal with. I am going to be fine, but it is a dramatic change in my life. I've gone from taking no medication to taking medication twice a day. I have been on a whole lot of supplements and stuff.
All I can say is that like, I know this stuff is scary, and I hope that through these medications and whatever interventions you end up taking, I do hope that it is able to help with like those energy levels and you being able to feel normal, right? Like, that's all I'm going to say. I hope that even though this was a very scary thing to go through, hopefully at, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel is worth the stress and anxiety and, you know, like all of the negative feelings that it's causing right now, like in the long run.
For about a week now, and honestly, my energy is like starting to feel better. And I was like, if it's going to take like a couple months for it to get normal and even longer, because there's something that's causing all of these issues that will need to be resolved, and then I'll feel even better. But I spent years, literally years, thinking it was because I was lazy and because I was out of shape and because I was, you know, fat, that I was so tired and I was so exhausted. And I pushed my body and I hurt my body because I was actually very sick. And
I think this is exactly why I try to not just say you need to lose weight. And I think that it's important to, again, look at the nuance of the situations that people are in and like understand that for a lot of people that are trying to lose weight, like I believe that a caloric deficit is how you lose weight. Okay. But just because it's a simple thing, that doesn't mean that it's easy. Right. And then there are people that maybe that's not the only answer. Right. If there are other things going on with their hormones and stuff like that, that it does make it more difficult. And so that's why I try to make sure that people understand that not all fat people are fat just because they're lazy. I think that there's definitely people that are fat because they're lazy. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. To say that there's not, that's ridiculous. But it's important, like if you're talking to someone specifically, you just calling them fat and they need to eat less, like is that really going to help their situation? Probably not. So like why not try and figure out what's going on? And again, this is why I am such an advocate for hopefully, you know, better treatment of fat people at the doctors where they're looking at things more than just, hey, you need to lose weight. I'm not going to see you until you've lost weight. That obviously is not helping someone that is struggling with a lot of other issues, right? And their weight, yeah, might be causing certain things, but to just treat it like you need to lose weight and then I'll be able to solve, like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like that's actually caring about the health of the person. It's just, hey, stop being fat and then we'll deal with other things, right? I just don't think that's the answer.
And I just feel like I have to make a video. So if someone out there is thinking like, should I go to the doctor? Like, are they going to be mean to me? You shouldn't care whether they're mean to you. You should care whether they can help you figure out what's going on. And if they tell you to lose weight, well, that's like, if that's like the worst thing that could happen, I think it's worth it, to be really honest. I think it's worth going to the doctor and learning why you feel the way you feel, even if you may not like what they have to say.
This right here was the reason that I wanted to make this video, because that is such a real statement and such a clearly coming from somewhere of some sort of realization. And I think that's really powerful, right? Just because a doctor might be a little mean to you, if it helps you find out, I mean, obviously in an ideal situation, he wouldn't, she wouldn't, they wouldn't. I get it. We don't live in an ideal situation. So if the only thing is doctor was kind of mean, but you also are able to find out these things that are going on in your life that are like seriously causing you harm, maybe just kind of like, hey, we got to deal with this, right? Like
I couldn't have ever expected that I would find out what I found out when I went to the doctor. I am still processing and dealing with the fact that in some ways I'm healthier than I thought I was, but in other ways I am sick. And that sucks. And it's nothing that's going to kill me, but it is something that's like mentally screwed with my brain. Because I avoided this experience because I let assholes tell me how to feel about my body. I let strangers interpret how I felt. If you don't feel good, go to the doctor. If you're tired and you don't know why, go to the doctor. If you're gaining weight and you don't know why, go to the doctor. Don't go to Weight Watchers. Don't go to Google. Don't go to the body positive community. Don't go to the weight loss community. Go to the fucking doctor. And I'm sorry if I'm so passionate about it, but I am pissed at myself. I am mad. I could have been treating this. But instead, I was listening to these idiots who knew nothing about me. And now I have to deal with my decision.
It's hard to watch, and it's another reason why I tell people, I know I bring this up in a lot of videos, but if you really want to be online and showing a weight loss journey, I know that it's not what she's doing, but again, like, this is what we talk about a lot here. I'm telling you, man, a lot of times it ain't fun. You got a lot of stuff to deal with, and you have a lot of differing opinions of people saying you should live your life this way, you should live your life this way, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do that. And then a lot of times it'll mess with your brain, man. It'll mess with your brain, and then you literally stop thinking for yourself and what you think you should actually do, and you make decisions based on what people will think about that decision. You're not even thinking clearly anymore. You're not thinking, oh, I feel this way, that means I should do this. You're thinking, oh, I feel this way. What will people think if I tell people that I feel this way? They'll probably say this. And so therefore, maybe I should actually go and do this. I'm telling you, man, it messes with your head. It messes with your head. You do not think like a regular human. You think based on what these other, and again, you're not basing it off of what maybe a regular person will say. You're basing it on the extremist sides of the spectrum and what the extreme psychopaths on each side are going to think and what they're going to say and what they're going to post, right? And so then you're just, the decisions you make don't make no sense, right? When you step back and you look at it, you're like, why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? Because you're not thinking for yourself. You're thinking for these fringe groups that are going to say stuff about what you do. And so I feel it. Like, again, I don't know how many people that can actually relate to what I'm saying, but all I can say is, like, this, I guarantee she's not alone. That's all. I guarantee she's not alone.
I have to deal with it, and I am worse off for it. So if you get anything from this video, if you have not had your annual checkup, if you have not had your annual blood labs, if you haven't had your pap smear, if you haven't had your regular annual checkups, please go. Please book an appointment today. Please get it checked out. Because I don't want you to be like me. Because I was stupid and I did the wrong thing and I thought I was fine. Because I couldn't tell. And now that I'm starting to feel better, I didn't realize how bad I felt because I talked myself out of believing that I actually felt that way. Okay.
So that's the entire video. But again, like I said, I know that it's pretty intense and that there's a lot there. But I really hope that, through this video and sharing this stuff, hopefully, you do get some stuff checked out and see how you are actually feeling. But again, I think that this is a perfect example of what maybe isn't shown much or isn't shared much, but what really can happen when you end up becoming, more popular online and you start wanting to share this stuff. It's just very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. I feel very bad. Hopefully everything works out. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts. I would love to know what you think down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.